Imagine a commercial flight carrying 239 people suddenly disappearing mid-journey without a distress signal or a trace. These 239 passengers, excited to reach their destinations, were on their way to meet loved ones, attend business meetings, or even celebrate weddings. But none of them ever made it. The story of MH370 is one of the greatest mysteries in aviation history. On March 8, 2014, a Boeing 777 took off from Kuala Lumpur Airport, heading for Beijing. It was a routine flight. Everything was normal, no technical issues, no emergencies. The plane took off at 12:41 a.m. and reached a cruising altitude of 35,000 feet shortly after. The next waypoint for the flight was Aigari, a point over the South China Sea where control would transfer from Malaysian ATC to Vietnamese ATC. After 45 minutes of flight at 1:21 a.m., MH370 was supposed to contact Vietnamese ATC, but this contact never happened. The plane made a right turn at Aigari, heading toward its next waypoint, Bai TOD. However, something strange occurred just 2 minutes later. The plane vanished from radar. Everything seemed routine, yet this modern Boeing 777, carrying 239 passengers, disappeared into thin air. When Vietnamese ATC failed to establish contact, they reached out to Malaysia, asking about the plane's location. This was the first time Malaysia realized their plane was missing. Every aircraft has a transponder that sends its exact location and speed to ATC. However, MH370's transponder had been turned off. This only happens if someone intentionally disables it, or in the event of a power failure. Radar tracking ceased, and the plane was now in a no-man's land between Vietnamese and Malaysian airspace where no one was actively monitoring it. By the time any alarms were raised, 18 critical minutes had passed. During this time, the plane had already deviated from its original route. Malaysian military radar later revealed that MH370 had changed course, turning westward. It crossed over Malaysia, headed toward the Straits of Malacca, and then disappeared from the radar near northern Sumatra. This information was kept from the public for 5 days. Initial search efforts focused on the South China Sea, but no debris or survivors were found. The story of MH370 took a bizarre and unpredictable turn. It wasn't just a technical failure. Someone on board had deliberately altered the route, steering the plane into the ocean. This suggests that someone in control intentionally diverted the plane. But who and why? Search operations shifted from the South China Sea to the Indian Ocean, a vast and remote area with limited ship activity. This became the largest and most expensive search operation in history, led by Australia. Pinpointing the plane's exact location was challenging because it wasn't clear whether it had plummeted or glided into the ocean. Inmarsat satellites recorded intermittent pings sent by the plane, which helped draw arcs suggesting it had crashed in a remote part of the southern Indian Ocean. It took search teams 2 days to reach the area, during which 2 powerful storms made debris recovery even harder. Typically, surface debris provides clues in a plane crash, but nothing was found here. If we take the example of Air France Flight 447, which crashed in the Atlantic Ocean in 2009, its path and some debris were found early on, yet it still took 2 years to locate the wreckage. In MH370's case, even the exact route was unclear. Locator beacons attached to black boxes have batteries that last only 30 days, and after a month, these signals went silent. Australian underwater microphones, typically used to monitor earthquakes and marine life, detected an unusual noise, which was initially thought to be related to the crash. However, further analysis revealed it was far from the predicted crash site and likely caused by an underwater seismic event. In 2016, Some debris washed up on Reunion Island and the shores of East Africa. Serial numbers confirmed these parts belonged to MH370. Drift modeling matched the findings, but the exact crash site remained undiscovered. Investigators couldn't determine whether the plane was hijacked or if something else was at play. Attention turned to the pilot, particularly Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah. First Officer Farik Abdul Hamid, a 26-year-old junior pilot transitioning from the Airbus A330 to the Boeing 777, was on his final training flight. His background check revealed nothing unusual. However, most of the focus was on Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, an experienced pilot with 22 years of flying experience and a type rating instructor. Investigators found a flight simulator at Zahari's home with a saved mission resembling MH370's flight path. This simulation was conducted in February, just weeks before the incident. Some speculated that MH150, another flight Zahari had flown, was initially targeted for hijacking but was deemed too risky due to the presence of additional crew members. Conspiracy theories suggested Zahari might have deliberately crashed MH370 as a political protest. He was a supporter and distant relative of opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim, who was jailed just hours before Zahari flew MH370. However, no conclusive evidence supported this theory. If Zahari was indeed the hijacker, his first step would have been to gain full control of the cockpit. It's speculated he may have sent First Officer Farik out of the cockpit under some pretext, such as fetching coffee or delivering a message. Once Farik left, Zahari could have locked the cockpit door, gaining sole control of the plane. A similar strategy was used in the Germanwings Flight 9525 incident, where the co-pilot locked the captain out and deliberately crashed the plane. Following such scenarios, airlines introduced a rule requiring at least 2 people in the cockpit at all times. If one pilot left, a cabin crew member had to take their place. Had this rule been in place during MH370, such a hijacking attempt might not have been possible. The plane followed the 7th arc, heading toward the southern Indian Ocean. After 7 hours of flight, the plane finally ran out of fuel. Boeing engineers simulated this scenario and found that when fuel runs out, the right engine flames out first, causing the autopilot to make a sharp left turn to balance the plane. Within minutes, the left engine also shuts down, and the plane activates the APU for emergency power. When the APU is activated, the SATCOM unit reboots automatically, sending a final log-on message to the satellite. This final log-on message was received when the plane was over the 7th arc. This arc indicated that the plane had reached its final destination in the southern Indian Ocean. This has become the world's longest and most mysterious search operation, with governmental and private search parties making every effort. The disappearance of MH370 remains aviation's greatest unsolved mystery. In 2016, debris found on Reunion Island and African shores confirmed the plane's crash, but no wreckage could be located. The biggest question remains: if the plane was deliberately hijacked, why was it done? Who planned all this, and why? The theories against Captain Zahari remain speculative. No conclusive evidence has been found to prove these claims. These are just clues that match each other, but the final answer has yet to surface. That's all for today's video. We hope you enjoyed it. For more such videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.